Good morning, everyone. As Kent County Council's Deputy Cabinet Member for Economic Development, I'm delighted to welcome you to the final dissemination event for the SME Internationalisation Exchange, or SIE project. We are very grateful to the Interreg Europe Programme for financing the project, which has enabled the partners to carry out some very valuable activities. We have colleagues joining us today from all over Europe, and while it's a shame that we cannot gather together physically as originally planned to meet and exchange, it's great that we can connect virtually to look back at the SIE project and think about future joint activities. Kent County Council in the UK has led the SIE project for the last 4 years with our 6 partner organisations from France, Spain, Italy, the Czech Republic, Poland and Germany. Together, we have focused on the topics of internationalisation and export for small and medium-sized enterprises. We have had the privilege of sharing our challenges and solutions to many of the barriers our companies face when exporting, and we have been able to make real changes on the ground to test new ways of working in this field. This morning, we will look back on what the SIE project has achieved in each partner region, before having the opportunity to discuss how we might continue to benefit from our strong partnership at a time when our businesses are facing more challenges than ever before. I'm sure that there will be new opportunities to develop joint initiatives that will build on the SIE project to ensure that our business community is able to have the best chance of succeeding in international markets. In the meantime, I look forward to hearing about the success of the SIE project today and to exchanging with you later about how we can continue to work together in the future. We really appreciate you joining us today, and I hope that you enjoy this session. Over to you, Steve.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. So for those that don't know me, my name's Steve Sampson, and I'm part of the economic development team at Kent County Council. And I've had the pleasure of leading the SIE project with some fantastic colleagues from all over Europe over the last nearly 5 years, which is quite hard to believe sometimes. Just to explain what's going to happen this morning. Firstly, well done for joining. It's always difficult when we've got different time zones involved, but everyone seems to be on the call, so that's fantastic. So we're going to start with in a moment with a short video just summarising what we've done as a whole project, and that will be just a 5-minute video to explain the SIE project in general for those that maybe haven't been involved directly. Then we're going to hear from the partner regions this morning. So we've got a few short videos and we've got a few short presentations where we're just going to explain a little bit about what's happened in each of the partner regions. Then we'll be hearing from Laurentiu David from the Interreg Europe Programme, who've actually funded the SIE project, and they'll be telling us a little bit about the programme and future perspectives from the Interreg point of view. Then we've got a little short interactive activity for us to enjoy and test your knowledge on the partner regions. And you might need a smartphone handy for that. So if you've got one to hand, you could make sure that's switched on. And then I think it would be great to hear from everyone that's on the call today. So we've got a few questions to ask about how we might want to make use of the SIE partnership in the future, to continue to work together, and if you've got any ideas for that would be fantastic. And I think during the session we're very keen to make it interactive, so we've got the chat function which is live, so please feel free to put any comments or any questions in the chat function, and obviously we'll do our best to respond to those queries as we go through the day. First of all, I think let's test that out. So if you can click on the chat option, which is at the bottom, it'd be great to just know where everyone's joining us from this morning. So maybe your country and your region, so that we've got a good idea of how much of Europe is represented. And I should say how much Europe and the UK, because we're still part of you at the moment for the next couple of weeks, just about. So fantastic. So yeah, perhaps pop that in the chat. So brilliant, Romania, fantastic. And I think I'm not sure, Laurentia, if you're actually here, you're speaking from Romania today or from Lille. And we've got Germany, fantastic, from Luke there. And Lille in northern France. So we've got northern France and southwest of France, Bordeaux as well, brilliant. Great. And Poland, fantastic. Yeah, Kujawsko-Pomorski, Poland. Santander, northern Spain. It's great, isn't it? It's a shame we can't really do a virtual sort of visit of every region, but we'll do our best this morning. So fantastic. Okay, we'll keep those comments coming, and it's great to see where everyone's joining us from. So I think we'll move over to our short video, which now explains the SCI project. So it's a 5-year project in 5 minutes. So hopefully this will be clear. And again, please, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat, or you can feel free to ask them afterwards. There's also the hand raising function as well. So let's have a look at our SCI video.
SME Internationalisation Exchange, or the SCI project, was a 5-year initiative funded by the Interreg Europe Programme. It aimed to explore the topics of internationalisation and export among small and medium-sized enterprises in Europe. This included focusing on barriers to international trade and looking at the effectiveness of support services provided to companies. The budget of just over €1.2 million was split between 7 partner organisations. Kent County Council in the UK, Molise region in Italy, Usti region in the Czech Republic, N-Bank, Lower Saxony, Germany, Torun Development Agency from Kujawsko-Pomorski in Poland, the International Chamber of Commerce for Nouvelle-Aquitaine, France, and Cantabria Chamber of Commerce in Spain. Each partner brought together a group of regional stakeholders, public authorities, business support organisations, and other relevant colleagues with expertise in internationalisation, so that the project would benefit each participating region as much as possible. Each region's local stakeholder group met regularly during the SCI project, and members participated in wider project activities, starting with the SCI study visits. We organised 7 study visits, 1 to each partner region, to find out about the business support landscape, specific internationalisation support services, challenges faced by businesses and the local stakeholder groups, to get a better understanding of the economic context of each region. The visits provided excellent insight for participants and enabled fruitful discussions. We learnt that we share many of the same challenges, and it was inspiring to see some of the innovative solutions put in place to help companies in each region to develop internationally. Thanks to the study visits, the partners identified some excellent examples of good practice for internationalisation support, including the one-stop shop approach of the Kent International Business Programme, bringing together all of the export support organisations and programmes in Kent. Molise region's Go and Come Back project, which helped young people to develop international business skills through work placements abroad, and then encourage them to apply that knowledge locally to set up new export businesses. Usti region's Zartek Hop Cooperative, which provides central international marketing and connection services to help the many small growers export their products internationally. Lower Saxony's International Office Network, providing in-market expertise and knowledge for a range of priority export countries. Torun's Clustering for Internationalisation programme to help companies work together to bid for export contracts. Nouvelle-Aquitaine's detailed Parcours de l'Export, or Export Pathway programme, which provides a range of services from different organisations to help businesses with all parts of their export journey. And Cantabria's Export Consortia programme, which brings together small groups of companies to focus on international contracts. And you can visit the SCI website to view our series of case study videos. Each partner region also carried out a piece of research work to capture the latest information from local companies about internationalisation and the effectiveness of the support services available to them. We then commissioned a comparative study which brought together the findings of the regional research and confirmed that a number of elements are common across the whole SCI partner area. The EU is by far the biggest export market for companies in all regions. Companies from all regions share concern about the impact of Brexit and how other global events can affect their ability to trade successfully. Companies lacked international resources and access to specialist knowledge about export markets. And there'd been, across the board, a fairly low engagement with support mechanisms, and often some confusion among businesses about how the services offered were different, where there were overlaps between national and regional services, for example. But on the other hand, the study highlighted the importance of innovation, access to specialist information and advice, and the right support to help boost internationalisation. And you can visit the SCI website to download all of the regional studies. At the end of Phase 1, we organised 2 policy improvement workshops to enable partners and their local stakeholder groups to review the findings of the regional and comparative study work, what had been learned during the study visits, and the good practice examples that were identified in each region. The evidence base gathered through the SCI project then led to 7 regional action plans, which aim to improve SME internationalisation policies and programmes in the partner areas, including influencing regional ERDF activities. The partners, along with their stakeholder groups, have been overseeing the implementation of these plans in their own regions, which aim to make changes to existing internationalisation support programmes, as well as testing and implementing new approaches to help companies to export. Despite some unexpected delays caused by the global COVID pandemic, the action plans are beginning to make a difference on the ground in the different SCI partner regions. And to summarise, the project has been a fantastic opportunity to improve the way European SMEs are assisted with internationalisation. Each partner region has benefited significantly from participating in the SCI project, and the partners hope to keep in touch and find new ways of cooperating in the future.
Great. Well, thank you for that video. Hopefully that explains what the SCI project was all about. I'll just go, say, has anyone got any questions at this point? Feel free to raise your hand or to pop them in the chat. But hopefully that gave us a quick insight into what we've been doing with our European Interreg funding for the last few years. And it's been a really enriching experience to just kind of exchange between all of the partner regions and to see how companies are supported across Europe. Okay, fantastic. So obviously we've not got a huge amount of time this morning because it's an online meeting. So we've only got a short amount of time for each of our partner regions to share what we've been doing. So we're going to start with a short video from Kent, which talks about, in particular, just one element of the project. We can't really cover everything that we've done in a short space of time. So we're going to be talking a little bit about our the export manager scheme that we piloted in the last year or so with the SCI project. So let's take a quick look at that video. Thank you.
Leading and participating in the SCI project has been a really valuable experience for Kent County Council and our Kent International Business stakeholder group. The findings and the recommendations from the study work carried out by the Kent Business School in 2017 and 2018 provided some really useful insight for the Kent partners. And firstly, we were able to make good progress with rearranging our export support services into an export pathway programme, which was very much inspired by our partners in Nouvelle-Aquitaine. And you can find out more about that on our website. And secondly, we've piloted the Kent Export Manager Scheme, thanks to the SCI project.
In response to the findings of the internationalisation study, which highlighted that many companies lack the internal resource and capacity to be able to focus on exporting, Kent colleagues were impressed by the French International Trade Advisors CCEF programme in Nouvelle-Aquitaine and the Export Manager programme run by ICEX in Spain, and planned the Kent scheme to tackle this problem and test a new approach with local businesses wishing to internationalise. 7 companies were supported with vouchers of €5.5 or €10,000 to enable them to secure some extra help to develop their international activity. The KIP partners such as DIT and EEN also worked alongside the companies and the export managers to really maximise the project activity. Thanks to Interreg Europe, the KEMP's pilot scheme enabled these businesses to directly tackle challenges they faced and make good progress with their internationalisation of their activities. Feedback from beneficiaries was excellent.
Hello, I'm Jason Hurst, Managing Director of EvoGrow Limited. We're a Kent-based manufacturer of plant growing systems, examples of which you can see here behind me. We've been participating in McKemp's Export Manager Scheme this year, which has been enormously helpful for us. I think what's particularly good about the way the scheme was structured was that it gave each business the freedom to work out how to solve their particular challenges and to use the budget in a way that suited them best. It's been really good for us, and I hope you have find a way to carry it on in the future. Thanks very much.
And we are confident in Kent that we now have a strong business case for rolling out an internationalisation voucher scheme on a wider basis.
So SCI has been a great project for Kent to help us with reviewing and improving our internationalisation support mechanisms for our local businesses. And looking forward, we know that we still have plenty to learn from and share with our European partners, particularly as we all work to help our businesses recover from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and find new ways to help businesses with global trade and internationalisation in a rapidly changing world. Perhaps through increasing the use of digital tools and through helping our companies to forge lasting partnerships to help with reciprocal trade and business in the future.
Great. Okay. Brilliant. Well, thank you. I can't really thank myself for that video, but I can thank my colleague Emma, which is great. So yeah, so I think in Kent, it's been really valuable just to be able to borrow some of the excellent examples of supporting businesses with export activity from our partner regions and to test those out. That's been a really valuable exercise, and as we said in the video, that's something, you know, particularly the export manager scheme has been a really great pilot project for Kent, and we're now looking at ways to influence some policies and see if we can roll that out on a wider basis. And there's plenty of other schemes as well that we saw in our partner regions through the study visits and the project that we'd like to put in place, and I think, you know, very much keen to keep the links open with our partner regions. So yeah, so don't forget, of course, if you've got any questions about any of the regional activities, please pop them in the chat or feel free to ask now, so that you can pop your hand up if you've got any questions about the Kent involvement in SCI. But if there's nothing, I think we'll move on to the region from our next partner region, which is the Ústí region in the Czech Republic, and they're going to explain in the video how they've combined put together a combined approach to have a contact point for businesses in the region, which is something that includes advice on inward investment and exporting for their companies. So let's have a quick look at that short video now. Thank you.
Ústecký kraj. Průmyslový region tradičně silný ve využívání nerostného bohatství, s excelentním know-how v chemii, energetice a chmelařství. Region, který ale hledá i nové cesty.
Aktivně vyhledáváme nové příležitosti, nové zajímavé obory, nové firmy. V regionu máme skvělé hráče, jako je místní univerzita, která se specializuje právě na obory, jako jsou nanotechnologie, chytrá mobilita, čisté zdroje energie, rekultivace a podobně.
Perspektivním oborem v Ústeckém kraji jsou právě nanotechnologie. Excelentní výzkum pod vedením profesorky Čapkové na Univerzitě Jana Evangelisty Purkyně, anebo technologické firmy jako Nanotex, Nanologics nebo Pardown. To je nová tvář Ústeckého kraje.
Úspěšným příkladem je roudnická společnost Pardown, která nedávno čerpala dotace z programu Czech Rise Up. Díky programu může vyvinout nový unikátní produkt, se kterým může lépe vstoupit na nové zahraniční trhy.
Firmám v regionu pomáhají v jejich rozvoji organizace jako Inovační centrum Ústeckého kraje, Czech Invest anebo Czech Trade. Společně se zastoupením technologické agentury sídlí na jedné adrese v centru Ústí nad Labem.
Tak teď jsme v eventovém sálu Icuku Space Hradební. Je to náš hlavní velký eventový sál. Pro firmy tu najdete i zasídlení, kanceláře, coworking. Výhodou tohoto místa je to, že tu poskytujeme komplexní služby všem začínajícím podnikatelům, malým a středním firmám.
Firmy tu mají k dispozici podnikatelský inkubátor, síť expertů, možnost čerpat podpůrné programy, třeba i pro expanzi do zahraničí.
V Ústeckém kraji jsme začínali na Icuku, kam jsme přišli s nápadem naší aplikace na digitalizaci stavebnictví. Posunuli jsme se do programu Czech Investu Czech Starter, kde se nám během roku povedlo získat investici celkem 21 milionů a aktuálně se společně pokoušíme dostat do Německa, kde digitalizace stavebnictví je téma číslo 1.
Ústecký kraj. Nový start pro vaši expanzi do zahraničí.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much to our colleagues from Usti region there. And I think one very important point to note is that it was the SCI project that was instrumental in bringing together the various business support services we heard about there in the video, which includes export advice from Czech Trade. And I think before the project, there wasn't really a dedicated internationalisation support service for companies in the Usti region. I don't know if Zdenek or if Ivana wanted to just add anything to the video quickly, or if that's okay. Okay, that's fine. In which case, let's head over. It's a little tour of Europe this morning, isn't it? So we've started in the sunny corner of the UK. We've hopped over to the Czech Republic. And now we're heading back to Germany this morning. So if it's okay, I'm going to introduce Florian Langer, who's our colleague and partner from the N Bank, which is an investment bank in Lower Saxony. And Florian will just give a few words, if that's okay, about the project in Lower Saxony. And I think it's fair to say there's probably one of the regions that whose activities were most affected by the COVID pandemic over the last year or so. But Florian, over to you.
Yeah, and can you hear me as well?
Yep, we can hear you. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. And hopefully we've got some slides.
Yes, and some slides
up.
Because we weren't able to shoot
Perfect.
it. And well, I just summed up how we profited from the project, and I think there are two main aspects. I can't get to the second slide of here. Yeah. And there were, for us, there were internal and external benefits. Internal were benefits concerning the consortium. It was, of course, great to have an exchange with all the partners that have long-lived experience concerning the internationalization process. And these contacts will also be very useful after the end of the project. And there were certainly impacts for the regular or daily work from the project input. concerning the case studies and the visits, these examples very concrete, and it was possible to present these examples here in Lower Saxony to colleagues, to ministries, to other NBank staff. And so they could not only get an idea on what we are doing in the project, but could also get a personal insight on what others are really doing. And then we had a second Interreg project here in the NBank, and this was also great to have an exchange with them. So that was really an internal benefit. And we are discussing the new funding period right now. And of course, especially the go and come back approach, but also the other examples are, well, taken into these discussions, and hopefully will have an impact for the next period of European regional development here in Lower Saxony. But perhaps even more important were the external benefits. That would be, there are. And that would be benefits for the SMEs here in the region. And of course, the project and the promotional work was a good vehicle to address SMEs and to not only to inform them about this project, but to discuss with them the process of internationalization in general. Then it was very good to have these practical examples to demonstrate policymakers and stakeholders on what is done in other regions of Europe to support SMEs. And the project and the visibility of, for example, the Interreg logo on websites or flyers or everything was also a good vehicle to draw the attention of SMEs to other EU programs that might be of interest for them. So these were the external benefits. And I think we will all be able to use the contacts that we established with in the last few years. And I still have the hope that the pilot action and the action plan can be implemented. We had chosen the go and come back approach, which was not very practical this year. And we have one new client SMEs that are interested in internationalization in general via this project. And I personally gathered...
I think it was just, perfect, you're back, Florian, carry on.
And I personally also gathered some new experiences due to the project work. On the one hand, for example, promotional work or the organization of the visits, and also, of course, concerning the reporting and accounting.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you, Florian. That's brilliant. It's great to hear as well how, in particular, you were inspired by the case study from the Italian region in Molise around sending students abroad to gain valuable international experience, and hopefully that's something that you'll be able to put in place in Lower Saxony in the future. So I should just say that all of the case studies from the project, all of the great examples of good practice that we saw in the partner region are all there's short videos about those on the SAI website, so you can find out all about those, and feel free to borrow our approaches and adapt them to your own regional context. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Florian. That's great. So moving on, I think we're up to project partner 5 now, 5 out of 7, so we're nearly there. So we're going to hear now from our colleagues in Toruń and the Kujawsko-Pomorski region in Poland about how the support for export activity in their region has been kind of brought together through local government and partnership working with the Regional Development Agency, and how that's been inspired by the SAI partnership. So let's take a look at the video from Toruń.
Good morning, my name is Maciej Kanabaj, Office of Economic Planning, Marshal's Office of Kujawsko-Pomorskie Voivodeship. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you a little bit about an export and support for export and exporters that our local government and our local institutions give. Our local government have a special place for export and it's put in context of new and actual regional development strategy and our regional development program, which is a base for European funds to be distributed in our voivodeship. Our partner in terms of exporters and export support is Toruń Regional Development Agency. Agency is a local government company
Okay, maybe we'll just retry that video in just a moment. I think it's funny, isn't it? When we had the physical meetings, there was always technical issues with someone trying to collect their laptop for the slides and not having the right cable. And I think with with online events, it's normally something to do with streaming. So let's just I'll just wait for my colleague to see if we can reload that video. Or would it be best to go to the next one and come back to the Poland video? I'll just see what my colleague who's running the slides says. So Molly, feel free to replay that one or replay the one from Nouvelle Aquitaine, which was the next video on the list, and we can come back to the Poland one. Okay. So talk amongst yourselves for just a moment. Great. Did anyone have any questions about any of those presentations that we've seen so far? Okay. No problem. Right. Well, okay. Well, we'll just hold on for just a moment and hope we can get the video.
Hi, Steve. Sorry to interrupt you. We're just
no problem.
We're just trying to reload. We're just having a few issues technically.
Okay. No
so,
problem.
In the dark, but we are just trying to reload that same video for you.
Okay. No problem.
It as soon as we can. What was the other option we can go with?
We can go with the next video if we want, or we could go but I guess it's all in the order, so that's fine. We can hold on for a couple of minutes. That's fine. In fact, what I'll do while we're waiting for that, we'll jump forward a little bit on the agenda.
Okay.
And yeah, so we were actually going to ask a couple of questions of our participants today. So obviously we've seen we've seen that the value of partnership working, whereby we can borrow other people's ideas and adapt them for our own context. But as we've mentioned, sadly the SCI project will be coming to an end at the end of December after nearly 5 years. So I just wonder from partners or from colleagues on the call today, how you think what ideas you might have for building on the partnership and how we can continue to work together, even though the Interreg funding won't be there anymore. So I just wonder if maybe partners or colleagues, if you've got any thoughts about how we can make the most of our European networks and our connections to keep supporting businesses with internationalisation and export, which is such an important part of helping businesses to grow at such a challenging time. So I wonder if anyone's got any thoughts. You can please raise them now, or feel free to pop them in the chat box as well. Okay. So Carol in the chat, thank you. So you've mentioned about a LinkedIn group. That is actually a great idea, in fact, that we should probably put that in place fairly swiftly as well for the SI partner organizations and also for our local stakeholders. So I think just to elaborate on the stakeholder model as well. So within the SI project, as we mentioned in the first video, each partner is supported by a group of organizations in its own region who have expertise in helping businesses to export and to internationalize. So I think having that network there where we can ask questions, where we can connect to each other, because we found through the project that there really is a lot of the issues we face and our businesses face are very similar. So actually finding solutions together is a great thing to do. So yeah, let's join that, and I think feel free. In fact, we'll set the group up and we'll send invitations around to everyone. I think that's a great next step for something that we can do. Has anyone else got any questions or thoughts at this point? Okay, and providing trainees to each other. Yeah, so that's good. There's the actual physical exchange of people, I think is really good, and actually having someone, an intern or a trainee to work within a partner organization to bring that expertise, to bring that other insight is a really good thing. So that's maybe something we could explore from the point of view of improving the support and that we provide to the companies in our region. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Carol.
and it can also help companies because they will have the benefit of a foreign person who knows languages and maybe knows the local content. I don't know, for example, if you have a company in Kent who wants to export to France, maybe it will give up some input.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the key things, isn't it? Particularly with internationalization, where it can be a difficult and daunting activity for businesses, and to have, a friendly contact in the market, particularly for, I guess, for the UK at the moment, as with the transition coming to an end, we need all the friendly contacts that we've got in our EU partner countries, and similarly for Kent as well, where your companies might be facing issues, to be able to speak to someone in the market that they're trading with, to understand the rules and the regulations and make the right connections. That's something that's really really useful. Brilliant. And we've got comment here from the chamber about staying tuned to each other wherever we attend a European event, such as trade fairs, at the same time connecting companies. So that's a great idea, because often within our support programs, we take our groups of businesses to some of the main trade shows. So maybe a Nuga or Cial for food and drink, or Medica for life sciences, and actually to have that ability to matchmake, to support our companies. Of course, once they're good comment there, Carol. Once the events are live again, that's something we should most definitely explore, I think. And of course, it might be worth looking at ways to do that digitally, perhaps with support from our colleagues in Enterprise Europe Network. Fantastic. Okay, well let's head back virtually to Toruń in Poland. I'm informed that the video is now ready to go, so we should apologize to Maciej for interrupting him, but let's go back to that short video and hear how SAI has been benefiting our colleagues in Poland.
Good morning, my name is Maciej Kana by Office of Economic Planning, Marshal's Office of Kujawsko-Pomorskie Voivodeship. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you a little bit about an export and support for export and exporters that our local government and our local institutions give. Our local government have a special place for export, and it's put in context of new and actual regional development strategy and our regional development program, which is a base for European funds to be distributed in our voivodeship. Our partner in terms of exporters and export support is Toruń Regional Development Agency. Agency is a local government company which main role is support for export and exporters, and also widely put support for companies in terms of economical development. Agency currently is making progress in terms of SME project. SME project is a project which allow us to help our local exporters using experience from countries from all over the Europe. Currently, we are developing a regional observatory. It is an element of our new regional strategical approach. Regional observatory will be the element that allow our local entrepreneurs to be informed about economical trends, about export opportunities, and about all the things that are should be available for our local entrepreneurs, but currently they don't have the money or resources to get this information available for them. So our local government will try to help them get this information, and also this information will help our local government to get a better view of local economy and better view how to help our local entrepreneurs to develop themselves and to grow more.
Great. Well, thank you for that, Maciej. About it's great to hear about the regional observatory as well, where colleagues in Toruń are really regularly getting updates and intelligence about the situation with exporting in their region, so they can adapt the services and support to make sure that their companies are supported. And so yes,
if I
please,
can
Sylvia, come in.
And only just one. I would like to tell also that this observatory is from, this idea is from France, yes. And here I want to thank you very much, Carol, to explain us how it works in France and how much disadvantages has that observatory in the region, yes, and how it could help companies. Yeah.
You're welcome, Sylvia.
And this is example how we can use good practices from other regions, yes, to our region.
I was just asking in the chat how many persons will be dedicated to the observatory.
I don't know now, but I don't know. I should ask in Marshal office, but I know that there is some budget, and I think it will be some more people, yeah, not only.
Okay.
Brilliant. Great. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole, I think that's one of the success stories of the project, really, the ability to go and visit a region, to see how they're supporting their companies, and to think, yeah, we could do that in our region, and that will help our companies and our SMEs. So before the next video, I'm just gonna ask the partners actually just to pop their cameras on so that everyone can see who's been involved in delivering the project. I probably should have done that at the beginning, so apologies to everyone. But obviously, a project like this, you know, it's a complex affair to deliver. But actually, there's a lot of people behind the scenes making it work, and you know, over the last four years or so, it's been great to work with such a fantastic group of partners and colleagues. So we have so we've got so Emma there from Kent County Council as well, who's been working on the project, and we've got as you've already seen, Florian Langer from M Bank. We've got Antonio Mojeda from Cantabria. We've got Sylvia from Torun Development Agency. We've got Carol from the Chamber of Commerce in Nouvelle-Aquitaine, France.
It's like Eurovision.
It is. We could all do a song at the end, but but we always come last in the UK, so let's not do that today. And then we've got colleagues. I can't see your cameras on, but we've got Zdenek and we've got Ivana and Marketa from Ústí region in the Czech Republic, and of course we've got Piotr there from the partner region in Torun as well. So there's Ivana. Hi Ivana. It's good to see everyone's smiling faces. Fantastic. Yeah, so again, if you've got any questions, these are the colleagues that have been doing the real work with the project. So that transitions nicely to our penultimate presentation, so Nouvelle-Aquitaine, and I think it's fair to say that many of the partners were really inspired by I'd say the excellent export support programs that are run in France. So let's hear a little bit about Nouvelle-Aquitaine, some facts and figures about the region, some barriers to exporting, and all about the effectiveness of their Parcours de l'Export or Export Pathway program. So let's take a look at that video.
Welcome in Nouvelle-Aquitaine. We launched our 2 social networks to deliver information and promote our actions towards regional companies. The digital platform is a national tool declined locally. Exporting companies can find there all the support they may benefit from the partners in the region. Various thematics are presented with tutorials. They can find also business opportunities classified by sectors and first advice with free information. An agenda presents all the events, trade mission, training, webinar we deliver to companies. And of course, success stories in the latest news. Our CRM is a collaborative and performing tool. Our international advisors monitor their activities and exchange with their colleagues abroad. It includes all the details regarding the company they support, which helps them to deliver the best advices and follow up according to companies' needs.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that that video, Carol and colleagues in Nouvelle Aquitaine. Yeah, so they've got some really excellent tools available in the region, and I think we've all learned a lot from those, from their customer relation management tool and the export pathway program. So certainly worth having a look on the SAI website for more details of that. Okay, we've got one more little short presentation from our partners in Cantabria. And then we're on to something else. So this is just a very short video to talk about the benefits of how Cantabria has adapted some of their business support programs thanks to the SAI project. So let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Antonio Molleda, representing the Chamber of Commerce of Cantabria, located in Santander, northern Spain. Here in the Chamber, it was a great pleasure to share the last 3 years of the CA program. We learned a lot from our colleagues from different regions all across Europe, so similar, at the same time, so different from Cantabria. From all the lessons presented, we selected 2, presented by our colleagues in Kent and in Nouvelle Aquitaine. We chose these 2 because of different reasons. First of all, they affected directly the Cantabria's IRDF operational program. This OP emphasizes the importance of SMEs internationalization in the development of the region's economy, especially aiming their competitiveness by applying new business models and their ability to grow. We thought that through these 2 programs, we could directly address those issues. From Parcours Sport, presented by our colleagues in Nouvelle Aquitaine, we learned the importance of having a mentoring scheme for the regional companies, offering them a deep analysis of their capacities and guidance on their first steps on international markets. From our colleagues in Kent, we learned the importance of having a one-stop shop where the regional SMEs can have easy access to all the available support programs for them. During the lifespan of the CA program, the University of Cantabria carried out an interesting study showing interesting results of the region's economy. For example, we have a great concentration when it comes to exports, with top 10 companies in Cantabria accounting for more than 50% of the region's total exports. Also, the smaller SMEs in the study quoted the lack of knowledge on the operations and regulations of the international trade as the main reason why they are not exporting. Having all this data in mind, the Chamber of Commerce prepared a scheme trying to face those issues. Through it, an specialized and experienced consultant will carry out a deep analysis on the company and check whether they are ready to export or not. Also, it will provide guidance on the first steps, which markets to access first and how. And also, it will provide information on all the internationalization services available for them. We really hope that all the lessons learned through the CA program could be beneficial for the future of this region's economy. Thank you all for your attention.
Brilliant, thank you, Antonio. That's great. So, I think Cantabria really really learnt from some of the activities they'd seen in the other regions, particularly Kent and Nouvelle Aquitaine, and have been improving their support, rolling that out to real companies in their region, which has been great. So just to check that everyone's still with us, we're going to just ask a couple of quick questions. We've got a few questions on a poll this morning before we hand over to our funders to hear about the Interreg programme. So the first question, I think, which hopefully should appear on your screens very shortly. It kind of flashed up and vanished, but hopefully it'll be back. So if you're involved in the SCI project directly or in another Interreg Europe Programme project, we just like to wonder. We were wondering what would be the most valuable outcome for you. What is the thing that you're going to take away? So there's a little poll. Hopefully that will appear. Relying on the technology. And then there'll be a second question, which is what will your organisation do in the future as a result of being involved in SCI or another Interreg Europe project? So let's see if those appear. Can anyone see them? Just nod or shake your heads. I can't see them. Okay. Okay.
We saw the first one, but not the second one.
Ah, okay, great. Okay. Okay, well, hopefully you can see those. I'm afraid I can't see anything on my screen for some reason, but that's okay. Oh, I can indeed. Yeah, great. Okay, so a couple more minutes. Okay, so if I click on end polling, right, Molly, does that cover? That gives us a nice result. Shall I do that? Okay, so. Yeah, so learning about new ways to help SMEs, I think that's been one of the key benefits, really. Certainly, I would agree with that from Kent. It's been really fantastic to see that working. But of course, you know, sharing our pain, sharing our challenges as well with other colleagues across Europe has been great as well, and being able to develop new SME support. Okay, and then I think we've got another question. Is that right? See if we can pop that one up. So yeah, so what might you do as a result of being involved in a European cooperation project? So have a look at those answers. So you can adopting programs of support for your SMEs, changing the way you do things locally, looking for other regions for inspiration, or maybe it's something else. Okay. Okay. Few more seconds to hit that click button. Okay, so the results are almost in. This is just like Eurovision, actually, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see how we did. Right. So let's finalize that one. So potentially some ideas for future activities. Let's see the results. So yeah, so looking to other regions for inspiration, and I think that's something that has been really the real strength of the SCI project. I guess more than I anticipated when we started the project. It really has been fantastic to see how everyone else supports their companies, and I think we've all got a lot to learn from each other. And I think particularly as we now find ourselves in some very uncertain times with Brexit, with the COVID pandemic, I think more than ever it's going to be really important to keep those links open and to look to each other for ideas of how to help our businesses to come out of the other side of the challenging circumstances at the moment. And of course, adopting other services for SME support as well. Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you for that. Let's move on now and just have a few words from Laurentiu, David, and I think Anne's on the call as well. That they are our colleagues at the Interreg programme, so they're the ones whenever we've got a query we go to, and they've helped us navigate some of the eligibility requirements and some of the administrative work that you have to do in the background to run a successful project. So Laurentiu, over to you. I think we've got some slides up as well.
Yes. Hello to everyone. Hello, Steve. Hello, Emma. Thank you. Thank your team for making this possible, for delivering a very good project that now is almost reaching the end. Well, I would say there is still a milestone to go. It's the final progress report, but I'm confident that everything will be fine and will go smoothly as everything was with this project. So once again, a big thank you to your team, and to the entire partnership for this. It was a rewarding experience to watch so far the videos that were shown, and yes, it's I know that our program is sometimes a bit challenging because you need to start from sharing practical examples, then you need to climb up a bit into the intangible, to the policy instruments, but then this needs to reflect back on the ground on the way the SMEs improve their competitiveness. And from what I saw so far, from the results presented by the project partners, you've greatly achieved this, so congratulations. I'm not sure if I have control of the PowerPoint myself, but yeah, I will ask for the switch of slides whenever it is needed. What I would like to share with you is the way the results of the projects that you are implementing are aggregated at program level. Where are we standing with the program? And maybe I can share with you some insights of the future program and some good perspectives for the close future also of the SIE project. So just to start by giving an overview of our program, and this slide shows the main features of our program. We have 30 countries involved. We have almost 360 million euros invested in policy learning, and we are addressing 4 pillars, 4 thematic priorities. And your project, as you are well aware, fits well under the pillar SME competitiveness. Next slide, please. Okay. Just to have an overview of the first pillar of our project, of our program, because our program has 2 pillars. First is the project, what you are well aware of, and the second one is the policy learning platform. And I'm sure that at least part of you are very familiar with this one, this pillar as well. So, as you can see, the big chunk of the budget allocated to the program is delivered through projects. We had 4 calls for proposals, gathering 258 projects, which involve more than 2,000 partners from all over Europe. We are proud to say that 20% of the participants, of the project partners, are themselves managing authorities, meaning they have the direct power to influence their policy instrument. And this is a good way of, how to say, this confirms that our program is well targeted, meaning that the ones that have the power to change the policy instruments are directly interested in participating in our projects. Also, through our projects, we are covering 88% of the NUTS2 of the regions in Europe. So this is also very reassuring. Next slide, please. Okay, and in terms of outputs, what we've achieved so far, we can say that in terms of outputs, and I'm speaking now of outputs, now not about the results. The next slide will be about results. When we are counting outputs, we are mostly talking about the good practices identified. So the raw material of the exchange of experience. And with our projects so far, we reach more than 3,000 good practices identified, out of which more than 2,000 are of very high quality. And I will talk a bit more about these good practices that end up in the policy learning platform good practices database. And Steve, coming back to the poll you launched recently, I myself was a person involved in projects, and what I felt that the most important outcome for me and my organization was while participating in the project, because sometimes you may reach a policy change, sometimes it's more difficult, but what is there and stays is the increased capacity. You have the chance to share and learn a lot from other organizations, from other people involved in this project, and this stays within you forever. And you bring this knowledge, these skills to your organization, so it is prepared whenever the time for action is to do it. So this is something intangible, but which stays. This is a permanent result. And you will see that also for the future program, we will focus even more on capacity building, because this is the true nature of our program. In terms of achievement, we can say that only with 140 projects that have finished phase 1, we almost reached the targets that were set in terms of output when we designed the program. So with almost half of the projects still needing to go into phase 2, we expect that these numbers will grow, and this will only measure the success of our program. In the next slide.
Excuse me, I have a question. What is CP?
Cooperation program.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome. Next slide, please. Okay, so in terms of improving policies, meaning the project results, the policy changes that you are reporting to us, with 133 projects that have reported policy changes to us. So you can see once again, this is only half of the projects that we are financing that already reached this level of reporting policy changes. We've managed to influence 710 million euros. And if we compare this amount of fund influence with the amount of funding invested in the projects that reported the policy changes, we can see that the leverage effect is more than 4. And this is encouraging in further pushing our projects toward achieving these policy changes, because we see that something happens on the ground, things are changing, and funds are better mobilized for the support of SMEs and not only. Next slide, please. As I anticipated a bit before, we have the first pillar of the program, which is the projects. But aside this, we have also another important, and I would call it project, that ourselves we are implementing, is the policy learning platform. And this project was designed to represent the glue between the projects that that are implemented, meaning to try to unify and capitalize the achievements of these small islands that can be regarded as a project. So the knowledge is shared among the projects and also go outside the, let's say, small communities that are represented by these projects. And the policy learning platform normally is built on 4 pillars. This is the community, which counts more than 80,000 members. We have the good practices database, which is a section dedicated on our website where only the most important, the most innovative, the most interesting, the the good practices that have the highest replication potential end up. And you will see that also your project highly contributed to this database. Aside this, I would say that one of the most important services that is delivered by the policy learning platform, which is formed by a group of thematic experts that are working with the Joint Secretariat, is the peer reviews. And I would like to invite you to take advantage of the opportunity provided by the peer reviews. I know that some of you have already been involved as peers in these exercises, but the peer reviews can be regarded as small projects, small scale projects, meaning that you will have a specific need. Let's say you have a priority axis where you fail to attract so many beneficiaries, and then you want to share opinions and get perspectives from other managing authorities from Europe or from our experts on how to improve this specific call for proposal. And here we step in. You can submit to us an application which is 2 or 3 pages, so very brief kind of application form. And then if this will be approved, we will take care of everything, including financially, of having a meeting, either physical or online, where you could share your problem in a structured way and get your inputs from the other experts and panelists invited. So please, contact the policy learning platform and try to find out more about this. Maybe this is something that you could also do as a continuation of your project. If we are going to the next slide. Yes, unfortunately, we need to have also this slide on our presentation. But fortunately, there are solutions that we are proposing to our projects to deal with the COVID-19 crisis. I would not specifically address each of the solution or opportunities that we are offering to you. I would only like to stress that on our webpage, if you go to interregeurope.eu/COVID-19, you will find all the information there. What I can announce you, and also to link it a bit with the discussion you had before on how to continue the project, I can tell you that we are working currently on a solution to provide to the ongoing projects, and this includes the first call and second call projects. We are working on a solution for allowing projects to continue a bit if they are willing to exchange on the way the COVID-19 crisis has impacted the topic of the project that they are addressing. And I feel that with this topic of business internationalization, there will be high chances that you will be able to provide you a way to continue your project. But please, Steve, stay close to us, stay tuned, and as soon as this solution is ready and is approved by the monitoring committee, we will let you know. And I hope this is a good news for you. If we are going to the next slide, please. What I can say now, strictly referring to the SIE project, is that is one of the 9 projects financed under the pillar supporting the competitiveness of SMEs. We have 66 projects approaching this priority in general, but only 9 of them are focused on the internationalization of SMEs, and among them, SIE is one of one of the projects that has intensely worked on this. Next slide, please. Of course, there is no need to discuss too much about the results of the project because they were already presented in the first part of the event. But what we see as, let's say, outstanding and what we want to congratulate you for is the fact that you managed to have 2 pilot actions approved, even if it is regrettable that the one of N-Bank seems to be a bit stuck, and we perfectly understand why. But then again, you have 4 out of 7 good practices which are branded now with they are, let's say, appreciated for being highly innovative and with a good replication potential, and they are featured in the PLP Good Practices database. You also have 2 policy instruments that are already improved, and we are looking forward to find out more about your results in the last PR of phase 2. And then another big thank you goes to Steve, to Emma, and to the other participants that were involved in our program events and in the events organized by the Policy Learning platform, because your inputs were always valuable. So a big thank you from our side. If we are going to the next slide, I will try to share with you what is the future of our program.
And there's a question, Laurentiu, as well, just that I think it links nicely to this slide about the impact of the crisis and whether it will reduce the amount of EU funding that might be available in the future. So maybe you could cover that in this slide as well.
Okay.
If you know the answer.
But I will try to tell you a bit where we are standing with this, and then maybe if more details are needed, I can switch and try to ask the question directly. The way, if I correctly understand the question of Carol, is the way the current program was impacted by the COVID crisis. Is my understanding correct?
No, sorry.
Okay.
I was wondering if the next program
Yes.
or the budget will be impacted because there are a lot of funds, European funds, that are put to cope with the current crisis. I think it's about 750 billion euros. So I was just wondering, because the EU funds are not extendable all the time. So
Yes,
maybe they will have
to. Yeah.
So maybe they will have to do some cuts in other projects. So that was my question.
Indeed, this is a bit the case, but let's say we don't have a final decision on the budget. We expect that the budget of the program will be comparable to the one we had for the current exercise, but it is true that there are discussions on the way the budget can be split or can be reduced in order to help support other prioritary sectors. But so far, what we know is that the budget will stay more or less at the same levels as it was in the current program. What was a bit, let's say, worrying at one point for us, it was the fact that in May 2018, the Interreg Europe was not even present in the European Commission draft regulation. So we needed to fight a lot, to lobby, to try to further showcase the results of our program. And due to this work, 1 year later, in 2019, Interreg Europe was again back in the regulation specifically mentioned, and this gave us the ground to already start the programming. So it allows us to start already the preparation of the future program. Now, what is still pending is exactly what it was asked, the decision about the budget and the finalization of the regulations, because until this is final, we cannot clearly say that there will be an Interreg Europe, what will be the budget for it, how will the program be organized. So let's wait for the finalization of the regulation and the budget decision. What we have so far is the fact that we are back in the regulation, so specifically mentioned. There are discussions on the budget, which they are very encouraging for us, but unless we will have a final decision, we cannot say for sure. At the same time, on the next slide, I will tell you a bit about the features of our next program. Next slide, please. So, as you see from the title, we don't have to, don't expect to do a major change, a bigger evolution about our program, but we want to have an evolution to reflect a bit what was learned also from our side regarding the implementation of the current program, which you may be aware, it was a bit different compared to Interreg 4C. But there are some key features that will remain. For instance, we are sure that it will remain pan-European, meaning that it will be, once again, the only program that will involve, the only Interreg program that will involve all the regions in Europe. It will have a similar overall objective, and the policy makers, so let's say the organization involved in managing policy instruments will still be the core target group. And as anticipated, the main focus, same as for this program, will be on capacity building. And linking this capacity building, there is also a proposal for change, meaning that what we plan for the future program is to renounce to this approach of having thematic priorities such as low carbon economy, research and innovation, SME competitiveness, but to have a single priority which will be capacity building. What this means is that you will be able to still submit projects on the topics that were previously available, but you will also be able to present projects approaching different topics, niche topics that could not be framed previously, or meaning in this current program in one of the 4 thematic priorities. So we are enlarging a bit the scope of our program. What we also learn a lot during this program is the power of the pilot actions, of bringing changes to the ground. So for the next program, we are aiming to have this possibility available from the start. So meaning at application stage, you can already propose pilot action. And what will come as a relief for many projects, for many organizations, is that the focus on structural funds will be lightened. This means, if you remember, when you submitted the SIE project, there was an eligibility criteria that at least half of the policy instruments addressed in your project needed to be structural funds. for the future program, we are thinking maybe to lighten this criteria and to have a minimum of one policy instrument being a structural fund, and all the others can be other local, regional, or even national policy instruments. So this is the change that we are expecting. Of course, this is not the decision of the Joint Secretariat. What we are doing is that we are working with a team of experts in rethinking the program, preparing the documents, but the final decision always belongs to our monitoring committee, which is composed by the member states participating in the program. So the decision is theirs. And at one point, in the final conferences, we were also saying that we expect that the first call will be launched next spring. However, considering that the regulation are not approved, the discussions on budget are still ongoing, we don't feel that this is feasible. So the horizon for launching the first call is a bit further than spring, but we hope to come back to you very soon with news about the horizon for launching the first call. This would be from my side. I thank you very much for your attention. I know it was a bit of a dense presentation, but I'm available now for questions, and yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Laurentiu. That was great. So it's great to hear that Interreg Europe will be continuing and that there's some exciting opportunities for regions to participate. I won't ask about the UK involvement, but that's probably something for a separate discussion. Thank you. Yeah, feel free to pop any questions in for Laurentiu in the chat. We're almost done because we covered part of the agenda earlier. So just if you've got a smartphone to hand, we're just going to do a little bit of interactive fun. Just I think we've earned it because there's been a lot of information this morning. So just to see if our brains are still working and what we've kind of maybe know about the region. So we've got a little quiz for you, just a very short one. So if you grab your smartphone, and I think Molly, there's a slide hopefully with the web address. And if you go to kahoot.it, there's a few very short questions just for fun, just before we finish. So kahoot.it, and then pop that number into your phone. And we've got a few questions. So pop that in and give everyone a minute or so. There you go. Antonio's joined. I can't join because I've developed the questions, so that would be cheating, I think. And we've got a little soundtrack as well. Maybe we could mute that while we're waiting. Brilliant. Okay, so just pop that in. And I think, yeah, and once we've done that, we've got two very quick poll questions for you. So while people are logging on, in fact, I'm just going to do the thank yous while people are logging on to that, because I think yeah, there's with a 4 or 5 year project, there's a lot of thank yous. A lot of people work very hard to get the results. So I mean, firstly, thank you to Interreg for funding the project. We're really grateful for the opportunity to work together, and none of this would have happened without the Interreg program. So thank you to Laurentiu for that. And thank you, of course, to all the partners and the stakeholders who've been involved in the learning process, which has been such a rich experience for all of us, as you've heard this morning. And of course, thank you everyone for participating today. We appreciate you taking time out of your diaries. So we hope you've enjoyed the event. Okay, so I think we've got a good number of participants. So let's click on to the first question. Now, the answer, basically, you'll get a button on your screen which you need to click, and it's fastest finger first. So the first question: in which SCI partner region was the famous astronomer and mathematician Nicholas Copernicus born? So you click on your answer. So Kujawsko-Pomorskie, Cantabria, Lower Saxony, or Molise. So hopefully everyone's clicked. 3, 2, 1, there you go, it's counting down. Okay, so it was in fact, yeah, Kujawsko-Pomorskie and Torun in particular. There's some statues and he spent time there, so I'm sure Sylvia will be able to tell you more about that. So Florian in the lead so far. Okay, let's go on to the next question, which is, which side partner region is home to the longest undersea tunnel in the world? Nouvelle-Aquitaine, Usti, Cantabria, or Kent? Ten seconds to go. Some of these are a bit easy, I think, but hey. Okay, so it is, of course, Kent, and it's the Channel Tunnel, which connects us to our colleagues and friends in mainland Europe, although we're expecting a few delays in the next few weeks while transition arrangements are being worked out, but that's another story. Right, so let's head on to the next question. Okay, oh, so yes, it looks like our Spanish colleagues are currently on the leaderboard at the top. Well done, Path and Antonio. Right, let's head over to the next question. So, which partner region is home to a royal palace? Is it Lower Saxony? Is it Cantabria? Is it Nouvelle-Aquitaine? And is it Kent? And I can't remember if that's the actual palace or not. And if it is, there might be a clue in the top left, if you can see that small. Okay. So let's go to the results. It was Cantabria, which is the royal palace in Santander. Okay, let's see how people are doing.
Yes, the photo was perfect.
Exactly, great. And there was a tiny little Spanish flag in the corner, if you'd spotted that. Antonio's doing well, and Zenek as well. So we've got there's vying for the top spot there. Right. So next question. Okay, which partner region is home to 4 operational coal mines? Is it Nouvelle-Aquitaine? Is it Cantabria? Is it Usti? Or is it Molise? It does help, of course, if you visited some of these regions as part of the side project, because you should know the answer to that. Yeah, so Usti region it is, absolutely, and quite huge. Like the scale was really mind-blowing when we saw that. Okay, so someone's got to take on Antonio because he's doing far too well here, and Zdenek as well, and Lydia. Good, you're pretty good there as well from Poland. Okay, which 2 side partner regions are symbolised by a white horse? Is it Kent and Lower Saxony? Is it Lower Saxony and Cantabria? Is it Kent and Kujawsko-Pomorskie? Or is it Cantabria and Kent? What do you think? If you're paying attention in the slides earlier, you'll probably get this one. But okay, let's see. It is Kent and Lower Saxony. It's the Saxon horse. So if you look at our, this was one of the great things when we exchanged logos for our regions, and we found that they were almost identical. So that was really good. The white horse on the red background. Okay, so still Antonio in the lead, followed closely by Zdenek, and Luke as moving up the leaderboard there. Okay, next question. So which side partner region is home to the world's largest car manufacturer? Is it Nouvelle-Aquitaine? Is it Kent? Is it Lower Saxony? Or is it Usti region? And of course, it is Lower Saxony with a very Volkswagen picture there. So I think that was the big clue. But yeah, based over in Hanover. So let's see how we're doing. Okay. Antonio is developing a massive lead there for our Spanish colleagues. So Florian's climbing up the leaderboard. I think that was an easy question for you, Florian. Right, next question. We're almost there. Okay, question 7. So which side partner region does not produce wine? Is it Cantabria? Is it Kujawsko-Pomorskie? Is it Kent? Or is it Lower Saxony? And I really hope I've got this one right as well when we did the research. So I might have to be corrected. Okay, so yep, that's the correct answer, Kujawsko-Pomorski. So maybe that's another project we could import some vines and see if they grow in a slightly different climate. Brilliant. Okay. So yep, some very high scores there. Okay, Zdenek catching up. Right, next question. Question number 8. So which side partner region's logo is symbolized by a lion? Is it Kent? Is it Lower Saxony? Is it Usti? Or is it Nouvelle-Aquitaine? Okay. 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 questions to go. Unfortunately, there's no prize because obviously we're not in the same room, but you know, whoever wins, feel free to grab themselves a nice drink or something for lunch afterwards. Right, and it, of course, is Nouvelle-Aquitaine, so that a very fancy new logo with a lion as well. Right, okay, yep, no change. Oh, yeah, okay, Luke, well, a last minute 5 correct answers in a row. Well done, Luke. Right, let's see if you can make it 6. Let's move on to the penultimate question. Which side partner region is home to an exporting business that has been trading for around 1,000 years? And that wasn't a typo. Is it Cantabria? Is it Molise? Is it Nouvelle-Aquitaine? Or is it Lower Saxony? Okay, yep, it's Molise. So it's the bell foundry, and they supply bells to all kinds of cathedrals all over the world, and have been operating for 1,000 years, which is quite a good a good story to tell for a business. So whether the Sai legacy will remain for 1,000 years, we're yet to see. And the final question. So okay. So Antonio, so Zdenek, this is Zdenek and Luke. It's all down to you to see whether Antonio can be knocked off that top spot. But Marsan there is doing well as well. Right. So final question: which 2 side partner regions are famous for their hops? Usti and Lower Saxony, Kent and Lower Saxony, Kent and Usti, or Molise and Lower Saxony? Okay, and there were, of course, some clues in the presentations earlier. It's, in fact, yes, Kent and Usti. So we saw the Zartek Hop cooperative, and while we were on the visit, actually, we went to the Hop Museum, and they had photos of Kent. So there was a real connection there. Maybe something to work on in the future as well. Let's see the final results. Okay, so Marcin in 3rd place, well done. Give yourself a round of applause. Zdenek in 2nd place, and in the top spot today from no one other than Cantabria, it's Antonio. So well done. Round of applause. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that as a little distraction. Okay, well done. So, and of course, if any of those answers need to be challenged, we'll take that offline and sort that out later. But no, well done, everyone. So we've got 2 final questions for you on the poll before we round up. So the first one, if we could pop that up, that would be great, which is really around where we think the future challenges are. So obviously the SCI project is coming to an end. And I guess the question is where we think there might be a need to continue to intervene and work together if we can find a way in the future. So what do you think the main challenges are for the exporting companies in your region that have been caused by COVID? So is it about a less internal resource now to focus on exporting because they're diverted with other things? Is it reduced demand internationally? Is it restrictions on getting people back to work? Is it general uncertainty, or is it something else? And then we've got the second question there as well at the same time, which is how do you think the SCI project or wider European partnerships through Interreg can continue after the end of the project? So is it about regular informal discussions? Is it something, could we act as a brokerage service for SMEs? And any other ideas? So let's pop your answers into the poll there. And I should say, if anyone's got any other questions or any points they wanted to raise, perhaps you could pop your hands up using the icon at the bottom before we end the poll. Okay. Okay, so a few more seconds to enter that, and we'll just have a quick look. Okay, right, so let's have a quick look at the poll results. So we've got, economic uncertainty, I think that is, yeah, a key challenge for our companies. And of course, I think it's useful to continue discussions and see, you know, what can we do? How can we help our businesses? Because there is just so much uncertainty for next year. 2020 has been a difficult year, and I think 2021 will be. But I think, you know, there are ideas to be shared about how we can help our companies to grow and to recover. And of course, reduced demand in international markets, that's a key factor as well. I think we found that with some of our companies in Kent, where demand has you know, disappeared overnight due to COVID. So, you know, hopefully that will pick up again. But I think it's helping companies to understand where they focus their energy going forward. Yeah, and then some support on the second question there for acting as a brokerage service for SMEs. So I think that idea that we discussed briefly earlier about being there to answer questions, to connect companies, and to really help them deal with some of those challenges that they're facing on the ground. So brilliant. Well, thank you for your input there. That's fantastic. We'll note those down. Sorry, there were some other answers on the second slide as well, on the second question as well, about joint events to connect companies in the future, and also of course looking for future project opportunities, which we'll continue to do. And there's some news potentially earlier from Laurentiu as well about Interreg. So fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Has anyone got any other comments or feedback or queries or questions before we finish? Doesn't look like it. So in which case,
sorry,
Carol, yes, please.
No queries, but just a big warm up and a big thank you to you, Steve, for being the coordinator since 4 years now. You were really very supported for your work, and so a big thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. I've got a few more grey hairs, you'll notice, but it's been a really good fun working with you guys, and it's, you know, really is a shame that we couldn't get together to host this event in person. But you know, maybe there'll be an opportunity later next year to properly celebrate the end of the project and to see what we do in the future. We're just going to share a link in the chat there. There'll be a page available where you can review all the videos and download the presentations if you want to sort of take those away and digest them in a bit more detail. And of course, the SCI website, which was referenced in those slides, is available with our case studies, our regional study work as well, with all the information there, and the good practices as well. So yeah, so again, massive thank you this morning for joining us. It's been a pleasure to spend the last hour or so with you. I would like to wish you the very happy Christmas in the circumstances. We will be in touch by email afterwards to send you out any further details, but thank you so much. Go and enjoy a nice lunch, get away from your screen for a bit, and yeah, it was fantastic to see you. So thank you very much, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to meet in person very soon. So thank you again. Okay, bye everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye, everybody.